The following is a presentation of TFNN. Trade what you see with Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, Larry Pesavento.
Okay, looking good, Billy Ray. Feeling good, Lewis. I'm going to have to be a little loud and boisterous this morning, folks, here in the United States. I'm actually in Hong Kong, where it's 9:06 p.m., and I am one tired puppy. I had the old jet lag whack me on the head about an hour and a half ago. I took the boys for ice cream, and when you got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, there's never enough ice cream, and so I was in the midst of doing that, and all of a sudden I just said, uh-oh, something's not right. We are lucky today because we have our good friend Norm Winsky from AstroChange will be on at 9:30 roughly, and he's got some good stuff for us. We have to give our hats off to Norm because he's been able to really give us some wonderful, good information on astrology, teach some folks here more about some of the cycles that he works on, and so that'll be fun to have him on. And then tomorrow we're going to have Bill Koval of WDK Analytics on. He's also looking at something, extremely bearish. So we'll watch what Bill has to say tomorrow. We'll have Norm on in just a little bit. The first chart that we're going to look at today is the chart from our good friend Ed Carlson from Market Technicians Association. And what he was doing here on this chart was to show you the similarities in the symmetry that we have in the S&P cash from our low in September to the high in October, and then what's happened in February to where we are right now. And as you all know, I'm sure we've said it so many times here on the air, is the fact that we have a lunar eclipse and a full moon, and those are very, very important for timing. Norman's going to go over this for us and give us an idea of some of the ramifications. If you'll remember, on May the 19th, Norm was on and he was talking about Mercury, going into retrograde motion at the same time that we had a new moon, and that was the high day. And if you'll recall, that came within exactly 10 minutes of when that Mercury retrograde and lunar event occurred. So, sometimes the cycles work a lot better than others, but you got to pay attention to them because when they work, they really do give you a really good shot. Now, one of the things that I wanted to do, because I try to look at both price and time together, and I've taken that idea that Ed Carlson was looking at and put it up with the cash S&P, and of course I put the colorful butterfly patterns and Gartley patterns in here when I get a chance. But if you'll know the time from September the 28th into November the 2nd, it was actually perfect in time, and it's also perfect in price to what's happening right now from February the 10th until where we are coming into our the full the full moon. And we also, of course, we're in the equinox too. We started the spring equinox on the 20th. That takes about X number of days to go through, and so it's very important. And these equinoxes are really important. If you remember, the swallows come back to Capistrano a few days before the equinox every year, and so that must be something, some type of a vibration or energy that brings those birds back every year, year after year. What it is, I don't particularly know. But if we look at this pattern in the S&P cash, basically what we're looking at is the 135 lower top pattern. Now, if we get really strong here and close strong this week, and by strong I mean you've got to get the Dow up about 150 points from where it is right now. I'd say 200 points, and that would be at the S&P would have to clear 2055 in the futures. And that would be an indication that, yes, this model is wrong and we are getting ready to go higher. But until that happens, we've got to give it a time to get through this really strong cycle stuff that we're facing here today and tomorrow. And then, of course, we have Thursday, and then, of course, we're off Friday for Good Friday. And then we'll come back here right after Easter, and we'll see what the market's going to give us. In 1929, when the market crashed down into the crash was 1929, but the market didn't bottom until around, I believe it was November 12th. And from November 12th, it rallied for 3 months, all the way up to a 60% retracement. It didn't hit 61.8, but it got to 60% on the first week in April of 1930. And then from that level, in April of 1930, it dropped all the way down and gave up 95% of its value, finally bottoming in July, on July the 5th of 1932 at the price of 41 in the Dow Jones. And when it had topped back on September the 3rd, 1929, it topped at 383. At that time, we had 2,000 automobile companies, folks, because the auto was a big thing, almost like what the iPhones are right now. Now, the $64 question, I am not looking for that type of a move. I'm just giving you these statistics because, these markets have a tendency to repeat themselves, and if something really crazy happens, what we need to do is to go back into history to see what's happened. Because if you, like Napoleon said, if you don't read history, you're bound to repeat yourself, because it's really an important concept of what we're looking at. The first question that we have in the den here is: are there any price objectives above 117? Not in my cookbook. As a matter of fact, I think it's 115 and change that would probably be the place to to take a look at it. But right now, the euro is acting incredibly bullish. I'm going to put up the chart here just to show you what's happening here over the last few days and few hours, just by looking at the hourly chart here in the euro. If you'll notice those green lines, those are equal moves. And I put them in to see if they move there in time. And as you can see, we did make the percentage move down, but we haven't made the time move down. And that happens all the time, because these cycles expand and contract, and that's why they're so very difficult to find. And that's why we look at them astrologically, because those cycles are etched in stone. It's how the universe was made, and these numbers just don't vary. Whereas if you do a cycle of a nominal cycle, it could go from 36 to 40 or 48 and then contract again, which is okay. But you want something that is more exact, and I think that's what these astral cycles will do once you find them. But boys and girls, let me tell you, that is not an easy task. It really is a lot more difficult than you might think, because there's so many permutations of what you can do with these cycles that it's a little scary. So you try to keep it, within reason and make it manageable. That's basically what we have to do. 877-927-6648.
TFNN is excited to offer a brand new piece of market scanning software unlike anything the industry has ever seen. John Logan and his team have spent years developing their market profile tools to finally be able to release the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. And right now, you can get a 2-week trial absolutely free just by visiting TFNN.com and providing us your name and email address. The TAS Profile Scanner Plus is the premier market profile-based scanner in the industry, powered by the acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner is a standalone desktop software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Within 3 minutes of signing up, you can have the software downloaded and running on your computer with a complete roadmap of market indicators and inflection points to trade off using the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. Sign up today and try this amazing piece of software by visiting TFNN.com.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find the Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Larry takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Okay, we're back, folks, and in about 12 minutes, we're going to have Norm Winsky from Astro Trends on. But, folks, there are a couple of patterns that are getting ready to do something that I think is very, very important. One of them is the gold market. I spent some time, because I have a lot of time here. It was raining like heck these days that we've been in Hong Kong. You can't even see Victoria Peak, this is one of the most beautiful cities. It is the most beautiful city at night. And it is a beautiful city during the day when the sun is out, because you get to see all the islands and you can see China and Macau, and it's really spectacular. But we're fogged in here, so I basically did some work, and I spent some time working with Twentyman. Jim and I have been friends for over 50 years. He is the premier researcher, in my opinion, because this guy has a passion for accurate data. And I had an idea. I ran it by him. He had some, input, because I really rely on him quite a bit. And he brought a couple of points to my attention that I wasn't aware of, looking at gold on a really long-term basis. And we spent probably 3.5 hours on Skype going over some of these things, and they look absolutely incredible. I'm preparing a presentation. I'm going to, I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but this is going to be really interesting. If this thing works, this is going to be as close to a widows and orphans trade as you're going to get. And whether it's going to happen or not, it's not ready yet. But the seeds are there. The patterns are lined up, and if you go back and historically and look what Jim had showed me to look at, and I was absolutely astonished. And it was it was really spectacular experience to see this thing unwind. In fact, the next thing that I did was I contacted Norman Winsky, because Norm has such great accuracy in some of these markets using the astral cycles that he has. I wanted to see what his input would be for, a coming really good change in trend in April, and he's going to try to throw us some information over the next week or so to see what's going to happen. I don't think this event will start until probably around mid-April, possibly around early May. But if it does, it's going to be really, really spectacular. It might even get the handle like Tom O'Brien uses with King Gold. And if you remember, back in 2003. I wasn't with TFNN at the time, but I certainly remember Tom O'Brien talking about buying gold, because gold was trading at $256 an ounce, and it went substantially higher. We got to 1932 back in 2011. We've been in this four-year bear market ever since, which I think we're getting close to coming to an end. The other one that looks really interesting that's coming together here is we've talked about this because of the fact that we've completed some equal patterns here in the crude oil, but we've got a potential here, and this is one that really has some great potential also, and that is the crude oil, because you have a potential Gartley if we get down to around this around the $32 per barrel level. But we also, if it's really bullish, we won't get any lower than the 382, which is down about 10% from where we are now, at around 35.49 per barrel. Now, there's a lot of things in the news about what's happened in Brussels with the unfortunate another suicide bombing. And, that's just, it's got to be a way of life now, folks, because with ISIS recruiting the way it is, God only knows, what's going to happen to some of these things, and it's really different. The only advice that I can give you, folks, is what my grandfather used to tell me, and it's an old Scottish saying, and that is that the coward dies 1,000 times, but the brave man dies but once. So there's nothing to fear about death. We all have to go through it, and there's only been one guy that ever came back from it, and his anniversary is coming up this next Sunday. So you got to be really careful, when you're walking through airports and stuff like that, and certainly be cognizant of what's going on, but you don't want to be, too enthralled with the safety, because, when your time is up, the time is up. That's all there is to it. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to look here at the gold market. Yesterday, when we were watching this, we saw the gold market come down to the 61% retracement on Sunday night. We actually stayed there all morning long and all during the day yesterday. And then in the aftermarket, when this Brussels thing occurred, the market shot up to exactly the 61% retracement, and has since sold off, and we got down to about 1250 after we had hit 1260. So we did have a pretty good rally. Guess what, folks? 17 bucks off the bottom. That's the harmonic number, 17 and 34 in gold, and now we're backing off. If this were an ABCD structure, starting back at the 1283 level, and then down to the 1240, and then up to the 1260, that's going to bring us down to that one of the things that we're watching, which is around the 1212 level in the gold, because that's an important one. But the really important one is 1190. That might be a back the truck up tide trade, but we'll have to wait and see. Gold has some similarities of something really spectacular happening, folks, from a situation of a market changing trend, really, really big time. So it's not ready yet, but it's got all of the things that are there that make a market, want to do, something, really, really special. And there's that possibility that could be happening. Now, this would be totally different than what that neural net prediction that we've been watching for some time from Larry Edelson, because it looks like gold's going to go down, into late May or early June, which maybe that's what the timing is. I'm not sure, but all I know is that it could get a really good spot here in a couple of weeks, and we want to be watching that, without too much trouble. That would be something that I think would be real interesting. Now, we've had a request from one of our listeners from the UK to take a look at the British pound. The British pound suffered this morning when this morning in the US, but it was nighttime here on the Brussels thing. I don't know why they hammered the pound so much. The euro was down a little bit, but the pound took the biggest brunt. But if you'll notice, if we look at this pound around the 141.70 level, that's going to come into some really strong support, because you're going to have a 61% retracement of the low on February the 27th, and you're going to have a 78.6% retracement of the low that we made on March the 16th, and that's also at a price of 141.80. So we're down about 100. We need to get about 100 pips lower for these numbers, to validate themselves, but they're still really close, to being, spot on of what we're watching. And I think that's another thing that we've got to watch. We've got just so many things looking to watch that it's got to be able to do it. So we're going to take a break here. When we get back, we hope we'll have Norm Winsky from Astro Trends on.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters. In quiet markets, investors search for new trading opportunities. We'd like to introduce you to a new product that provides opportunities even in flat markets. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a new and innovative Chicago-based exchange registered with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their trading platform. Nadex never charges a fee to use their platform, which even includes real-time charts and full customization capability. Nadex's unique short-term binary options allow traders and investors to capitalize on strategies even when the underlying markets are quiet. Nadex's innovation has allowed them to come up with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com, or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
In the words of CCR, Creedence Clearwater Revival, we have a good moon rising with our good friend Norm Winsky of Astro Trend. Norm, are you on?
Yes, sir, Larry. Thanks for having me on.
It's our pleasure, buddy. You're 5 for 5. Just, like I told you before, the first time you're wrong, baby, you're toast.
Okay.
Hey, listen, we've got your first page up here, so why don't you give us a little review and take us through what we're looking at today, because you've got our undivided attention.
Thank you very much. When I was on early March, I said this was the big week of the month, and here's why. I am going to kind of just recap now what happened, what I was talking about. This is a refresher here. Coming up here in the next few days. Tonight, we have a Jupiter forming a key 90-degree angle of Saturn. That's part of a roughly 20-year cycle. And so we're going to be looking at, in a minute, we'll be looking at some charts. That's an indication, see, Jupiter is in Virgo, and that's going to be soybeans. If I recall, you're kind of a soybean fan there, right, Larry?
Yeah, more or less. If you can make money at it, I'd trade. I'd go back to trading bellies, but we don't have those anymore. But you've got my attention.
Did they get rid of the bellies?
Oh yeah, they stopped trading about 6 or 7 years ago. They're totally gone. They still trade hogs, but no more bellies.
All right. And then Saturn is involved, so that indicates what? Look at coffee. And so there's your big ones. I got oats involved, but nobody cares about oats, so we won't even talk about those. Then coming up, that's tonight. If you see my page there, it says 322 AC. AC stands for after the close, so that's this evening after tonight. Then early tomorrow morning, we have a lunar eclipse. You mentioned that earlier, and by the way, you mentioned on your charts there, you mentioned September 28th. I believe it's part of that one of your patterns. Is that right?
That's one of the days you gave us, partner. We remember it very well.
There you go. If you might remember Sunday, that's Sunday night. That was a Monday. And Sunday night, we had a super lunar eclipse. And I believe that Monday morning, the Dow Jones opened gap down 300 points.
Yep.
So if you were your folks out there, the listeners out there, this is one of the simplest things you could have to research. All you got to do is go, if you don't have any astrological programs or whatever, you can Google lunar eclipse dates and Google there, probably get a list of dates, and you can go back and look at your charts. Here's the rules that I have observed, that within one trading day of lunar eclipse, as long as it's within, as long as the lunar eclipse lands during the trading week, in other words, if it lands on a Saturday, that may tend to dissipate the energy if it's with more than 24 hours from a trading day. Otherwise, look for 1.5% to 2% drop in the stock market, and that works about 75% of the time.
Norm, do you remember on May the 19th when we had the Mercury going direct, or
Sure.
Mercury going retrograde, and we had the new moon, and you gave us a chart that showed us within 10 minutes of when that aspect occurred is when the market topped. I mean, how is it that accurate sometimes? That like at 8:01 is it's like an hour and a half before.
Yesterday on my intraday, I don't know if you look at my intraday charts I send you here, Larry, but I send these out a month in advance, so you had this a month in advance. That yesterday Venus would align with Neptune, and that was at I can't remember the exact time, about 2:30, roughly somewhere in there. Maybe it's 2:40, and it's coming to me. I think it was 2:40. I had 2:44, and the high of the day was at 2:43. Gosh darn it, Larry! I got to fix that. It was off by a minute.
Yeah, you've got to improve your work if you're going to be on this show, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah. There you go.
Fire
anyway,
away,
so
keep
there's
going.
a Venus-Neptune thing that you had in advance, and it was accurate within 1 minute.
Wow.
Yep.
That's very good.
So moving ahead here now, so that's why I asked to come back on here, because I think we have some huge stuff coming up here in the next few days. And then after the lunar eclipse on Friday, or actually early Friday morning, we won't be trading on Friday because it's a market holiday. But Friday, so over the weekend after the close of Thursday. So this is one of, if you any of your regular listeners that heard me on your show before, this is one of my favorite things, is when the planets go direct or retrograde. That's due to the apparent motion of the planets. That's how they look from here on Earth. So we know they physically don't change direction. But it appears that way, just like if you're driving on the highway and you're doing 60, somebody passes you doing 70, and you glance out your side window, you may get the impression that you're actually going backwards when you know you're going forwards. So Einstein talked about this when he described the theory of relativity. He talked about sitting in a train station on a train. The train next to him pulls out of the station, and he had the sensation that he was going backwards when intellectually he knew that he was not moving. So,
it was because of Mercury that they were able to prove the wasn't it with the eclipses?
Oh yeah, that was one of the way that they used to prove the motion of to prove Einstein's theory. They used some motion of Mercury, and also they were using a lunar eclipse thing, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, the most reliable thing are the outer planets. When they do this, what happens, we get what's called a station point. That's when the planet appears. It stopped its motion. It's only momentary, and then it reverses direction. So when the planets change direction, the markets will often change direction. And the most reliable grouping is what's called the outer planets. That's from Jupiter on out. These are the long, slow-moving planets, the big cycles. And so when that's like a ship turning. You're going to have a big wake when a big ship turns, versus the inner planets are like little speedboats and PT boats. Right? They are more pinpoint, but they also don't have usually as big of a effect. So we have Saturn. That's an outer planet turning retrograde early Friday morning. And Saturn again is connected to coffee, and of course the stock market is the big basket of everything. So any important events are going to have an effect on the stock market. That's sort of a given here in this work. And then finally we have a big thing happening with the U.S. chart. I use what's called a natal chart. That's taking a snapshot, just like when you were born, Larry. At the time you were born, when something starts, we take a snapshot of the planets of that moment, and then that's the basis for our analysis out in the future. We can also use the natal chart to determine someone's personality and so forth, and their inclinations and what they'll do in life and so forth. So we have that for the U.S. based on July the 4th, 1776. And that says, again, over the coming weekend, we have something important with the U.S. Saturn, where Saturn was when the U.S. was formed on July the 4th, 1776. And that would indicate U.S. stocks, T-bonds, and the U.S. dollar for a change in trend for those markets. Now I'm scrolling.
Okay, Norm,
yes,
hold
sir.
on 1 second. 1 second. No, we have to pay a few bills here.
All right.
Pretty soon. We're going to move to page 2 next. Correct?
Right, we're going to move to the bottom of that page where the big S&P chart is. Just take a quick look at the S&P.
All right, we'll be there right back. Stay with us.
Yes, sir.
If you're looking to discover a new financial resource and diversify your financial portfolio, consider the new Market Safe Commodity Solution CD from Everbank. This 5-year U.S. dollar-denominated CD gives you exposure to 8 equally weighted commodities, including WTI crude oil, gold, silver, copper, nickel, soybeans, corn, and sugar, in one powerful CD. With annual pricing caps of 70% per component, you could earn up to 70% upside payment at maturity if the commodities increase in value across annual pricing dates. And should the opposite occur, your principal is 100% protected. Keep in mind, returns are based on CD performance. There is no annual percentage yield or periodic rate of interest on this indexed CD. Don't miss out. Take advantage of this financial resource designed to grow with the times. The April 14th funding deadline is quickly approaching, so hurry over to everbank.com/TFNN for the CD's term sheet and other important product details and disclosures. Once again, that's everbank.com/TFNN. This advertisement is sponsored content. Everbank is a member FDIC.
It's 2016 and TFNN has a brand new programming lineup to kick things off. Starting January 4th, swim lessons by Thinkorswim and TD Ameritrade will be airing 5 days a week at noon Eastern Time. Join hosts Scott Connor, Kevin Hinks, and Cindy Faber as they host their daily options program live at noon 5 days a week with no commercials for the entire hour. Nico DeHaan and Paige Clark will be moving their program, Living a Primal Lifestyle, to twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 a.m. until 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Wake up with Nico and Paige and start your day off right. The Bull Bear Binary Option Hour by Nadex will now be live Mondays and Fridays at 10 a.m. Start and end the week with the three hosts, Tom O'Brien, Tommy O'Brien, and Daryl Martin, as they break down the world of trading binary options and spreads. For all the details on the new 2016 programming lineup, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Directions Daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Catch the Money Masters as they teach you the art of mastering money when it comes to trading and investing. Next on TFNN.
Okay, we're back, folks, and we're with Norm Winsky of Astro Trend, and we're talking about the chart on the S&P 500. Fire away, Norman.
Yes, sir. So you folks out there might be asking, well, how do we make money with this? So the planets, when the planets have certain alignments, those are create sort of an energy field, you might say. It's create energy, and that's a potential for a change in trend. But we don't do this blindly. Then that's a stop, look, and listen point to go look at the indicated market. And so then we look at the chart. And so what we're looking for is when a market gets to an extreme, it gets to the top of the trading channel, the bottom of its trading channel, or up against some major support or resistance. And then you have a high batting average. We'll probably have a high percentage for a good trade. And then we also, because we have very specific time and price parameters, then we can exercise some good money management, because if it violates our parameters, then we get out, cut your losses, right? So here we have the S&P 500 chart, and you can see what's happening now. This is the daily chart going back to almost to April, May of last year. And you can see, as Larry mentioned earlier, we had the big down there into, back here in the fall low, and then rally into November, December, and then down into January, February lows. And now we're coming back up with looks like kind of a rising wedge type formation. And we're up against an important resistance level here because I connected these tops, the November, December tops, and you draw a line off of that. And we're bumping up against that now on the S&P at 255. And like I said before, I can't emphasize this enough, where it's as of this morning, we're in the lunar eclipse window within 24 hours of tomorrow morning's lunar eclipse. I think that occurs at like 8:01 a.m. Eastern time. So we're in that window now. So we could have a substantial sell-off here in this market. So if we break this green line here, where's my, I can't see there it is. If you see this, the green support line there, you break the up channel then that could open the gates on the downside, you know. So there's your S&P 500 chart. Be vigilant and be prepared. Don't go to sleep. Next, we have
try
coffee.
not to.
What's that?
I'll try not to.
Okay, I'll try to keep you awake. Here, have a cup of coffee coming up next to keep you awake, right? So coffee's coming up. Coffee doesn't look, we just broke a major downtrend here with this coffee market, and now we've popped up here. Maybe if we got a little bit higher here in the next day or so, then we get up some major resistance there. Then it might be a good shorting opportunity. Right now, it's sort of medium. I'd maybe give it like 2 stars versus 4 or 5. So here's my cursor here. And so, that's what, it's not, you're not going to always land, when the plans say, look at a market, you're not going to always have a great setup. So that's, you have to use some discretion, Here's your soybeans. Soybeans are kind of somewhat a little bit same story. And that would be nice if it could get us just a little bit higher here, maybe about 920, 25 area, get up against some important resistance. Then you might have a good opportunity. The grains are very lunar sensitive. If you're trading grains out there and you're not watching the moon, you're missing out. I think we, in many of these turns here, like back, here we go, Larry. I think this high back in July corresponded to a new moon. That was the high of the year for most of your grains in mid-July last year. That was I believe that was a new moon.
The ancients used to use the lunar things for planting and stuff, didn't they, and harvesting?
Perhaps. And haven't talked to any ancients lately other than you and me. So,
I surrender, Norm. You got me.
What's that?
I surrender.
There you go. Oh, you and I are both ancient. I think you and I both fall in that category, right?
And well, if we added our ages together, it'd have to have extra ink to write it on the page.
There you go. And coming up next, we got sugar. Sugar is really just long term. The lunar eclipse is occurring in the sign Libra. Don't think that Libra has anything to do with sugar, by the way. So, one of Gann's buddies was an astrologer by the name of Safario. That was his pen name. A very famous astrologer in his day about 100 years ago. And he wrote a book called The Sugar Key, and it was all about how Libra and Venus have to do with sugar. And back here, the big low here at the bottom in late September, early October, there's a cycle called the Moon's North Node. This is the point as the moon goes around the Earth where it crosses the ecliptic. That's a very important 18-point year cycle. It goes to the zodiac in reverse order, and it was leaving Libra and going into Virgo right here near the low. I forecasted looking for a major low there. So there we go. And now we have a lunar eclipse, more of a short-term thing. Could have some longer-term ramifications. That's the astrological theory is that you can have both short-term and long-term ramifications. So very short-term here, we could be making a short-term high here for the sugar. And then longer-term, that might also have some effects as much as out 6 months. But anyway, we could be... This is you got a very specific possible trade here where you could possibly go short the sugar if it breaks out very much higher than where we are now. Then you'd have to get out, hit the parachute.
That's one of our favorite patterns. That's the ABCD pattern. We have those parallel lines that match up where the
yes, sir.
AB League. It's just about a perfect ABCD also, and you say it's related to what Safario did with. Sugar.
Well, he talked about Libra and Venus. By the way, Larry, I'd figured that I came up with that same idea myself. Then I stumbled across the Safario book, and he confirmed what I had already found. So that's always nice when you have independent corroboration,
Especially from somebody who was as famous as he was, because I remember that was one of the books that was in Evangeline Adams's library that she was the astrologer for J.P. Morgan.
Right. I own that library.
Yeah. I know you do. That's how I knew you had the book.
And it's on the Gann reading list too, I believe.
Sure.
They were literally good friends. Gann and Safario were good friends.
Well, I don't know if the folks have ever been to the library in New York where we have the the J.P. Morgan library, but it's really spectacular. It's
they got the zodiac on the ceiling.
Amazing. Yes, they do, and in fact, is where his birthday, which was April the 17th. when he came down from the elevator, he came down right where his sign was on the Zodiac. There was a secret elevator that's still there, of course, but people will show it to you. But he would come down from the upstairs bedroom area into this fabulous library. And, that was really spectacular. And he has the most extensive ancient Bibles in the world. The J.P. Morgan Library does, even more than the Smithsonian. Yeah. Hey, Norm, we're going to have to come up to a break here in just a minute. But when you come back, we're going to give you commercial time. You give us great work, so we're going to give you some commercial time because you give a lot of great stuff out and a lot of good information. And I know you charge too much because it's free, but we're working on that price for you folks. We're trying to get it under free. We'll try to get Norm to pay up a little bit, but I think that's a little bit out of the program this week. But
all right, so
we'll
when we
be
come
talking.
back, I can tell them how they can get all the free stuff.
Yes, we're going to give you the phone number of 239-594-3939 and Winsky at embarqmail@.com. So let's stay with us. We'll pay these bills and we'll be right back. Okay, partner?
All right, thank you.
You bet.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to the Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, folks, we're back with Norm Winsky of Astro Trend. And Norm, tell the folks what you've got to offer and how they can reach you.
Okay, well, if you contact me, you can get my monthly letter. I have actually there's two parts of my letter. I have the bigger picture part of the letter, and then I also do intraday stuff where I give you exact times during the day. Often these are accurate within a few minutes, like I described earlier. I had something that happened yesterday. Venus and Neptune lined up, and that was accurate within 1 minute. I'd be happy to show you that. Show you my techniques. There's a class that goes with the letter, so you can learn how to read this stuff. I teach you some astro. I also do some advanced Fibonacci and Gann cycles, and also do fractals. So you get to learn all these techniques. It's about a 3 to 4 hour class, individualized. You and me on Skype together. I put the stuff up on the screen and point at different charts and show you different techniques. And it's like a crash college course for traders. And Larry, it's all free with a money back guarantee. And because of you, Larry, you asked to adjust the price. I'm going to cut the free price in half. And so now it's half free, and now it's and with a money back guarantee. How's that? That's
Larry? A pretty good deal. That's a pretty good deal.
There you go. So now, and then we have here's how to get a hold of me. Contact me right away, because as we get to the end of the month, I get busy working on the next month's letter, and so you need to contact me right away before the holiday weekend coming up here. And I'm in the U.S. in Florida. At 239-594-3939. That's 239-594-3939. The international jet setters can catch me on Skype at norm.winski. That's norm.winski. Or just punch in Norm Winski, because I think I'm the only Norm Winski in all of Skype. And also we have emailing, which down here, don't go on my website and look for my email, because I think the email is on my web page. I think it's wrong, and I haven't gotten around to fixing that yet. So here we go. Here's my current email is nwinski. That's NWINSKI at Embark is EM like Edward Mary PARQ, and then MAIL.com. So looking forward to helping lots of your folks, Larry. And thank you very much for having us.
We're going to have you on again, my friend, and have a wonderful holiday.
You too. Everybody have a great day. Looking forward to helping you. Thanks. Bye.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing.
Testing,
For all
1, 2, 3.
the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.